Hey everybody, it's Coach Andrew, your host of the Because Football Podcast. This is another fantastic episode that we've got coming for you. Our guest today is Enrique or Quique Hauessler of Guatemala. Came to the United States to play at the NCAA level for Tusculum University in Division II, played a bit of JUCO, and then at University of North Florida Division I. And in this episode, there's a lot of great information that shares about the game at the grassroots level of Guatemala, how it might be similar or different than in the United States or other parts of the world. It was really interesting and fascinating to listen to Quique's story. You can see him remembering the memories as we spoke and more popping up. And it's a really great listen and the story that I really enjoyed. Just want to meet so many people that were a part of his journey, whether it was his first soccer coach that had him fall in love with the game, or his parents and the way they supported. Just really fantastic. So you're going to love this episode. I will give a fair warning. You've got to give me some grace here with the audio quality. It sounds like I'm talking out of a megaphone at times. Fortunately, I don't have to talk too much. Quique really carries the show here. But for now, just hang with us. This is great stuff here. It's an amazing story with a lot of laughs and really fascinating, especially if you want to learn about the culture and the lifestyle of Guatemala. It's fantastic, and the passion they have for the game there. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the next episode. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in there.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Because Football Podcast. This is your host, Coach Andrew, and our guest today is Enrique Hauessler of Guatemala City, Guatemala. First of all, Enrique, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Andrew. Thank you so much for the invite, and thank you, everyone, for listening, and it's going to be a great talk today.
Absolutely. True. And do you prefer, should I call you Quique?
Yeah, I prefer Quique. Every Enrique's
Perfect.
short name is Quique, so I feel more comfortable that way.
All right. Perfect. So my first question here is, can you tell us about your earliest or your first memories of either playing or watching football?
Yeah, sure. Well, I remember Guatemala is a big soccer country. We, from a very young age, I remember in school playing in the mornings before classes, and every time we got a free time, we would always be playing. Even though we didn't have sometimes a soccer ball, we would use whatever we had, like a plastic bottle, and just create the soccer field in, I don't know, in the bathrooms or in a hallway, wherever we could play. We would always be playing. I remember I was about 7, 8 years old, and I didn't really was into soccer that much. And my mom, I remember she was a little concerned because she paid for me to go to soccer after school, and I would never go. Like, this soccer coach would have to look for me in the elementary, and she was a little concerned. But the soccer coach was like, he would always be to my mom like it's normal, he's a little kid, he has to play and have fun. And then I remember this coach was really special for me. He is from Argentina, and he really developed that love for the sport. And I've been in touch with a lot of young athletes he had, or young soccer players he had. We're now all grown up, and we all think the same. We're really thankful for him because I don't know why he was so happy all the time. I remember he used to take his shirt off, and we would all take our shirt off, and it was just really nice, happy, beginning years of soccer for me. And then I just loved the sport. I remember probably I was 10 and I just wanted to play soccer and become a soccer player. And since then, my dream of becoming a soccer player just got stronger and stronger every time. And that's what I wanted to do.
Amazing. So two questions. So one thing we talk about in our Because Football podcast is is like different cultures, of course. So like you said, when you're coach and you guys would take your shirt off to play in the U.S. as a coach, I have to keep my shirt on, right? That's not okay. But what I understand that to mean is that the coach was creating just a very fun, playful type of environment, like trying to be as close to what you might do like with your friends, but obviously giving that instruction and giving the knowledge too.
Yeah, of course. It was just a part of loving the sport. That's, I think, the best word to describe it, because I don't feel like it was training, or it was just going out to play soccer and have fun. We would grab our shirts and like put them in our heads, I remember, and just be running around. And then, because he's from Argentina, that's what you were commenting about, the culture, he would do a big barbecue after the trainings, and parents would come and eat, and I don't know, it was just a really nice atmosphere all the time, and I just really wanted to be part of that all my life. I was really happy, and I felt like uh, I was part of something I really enjoyed. The only like downfall to that was that we didn't really have that many places to play soccer. My school had one soccer field, and it was all dirt soccer field, and all ages played in that soccer field. And then there was no other soccer fields like close to my house, or close to anywhere, or we still don't have like parks like in the States, where you could just go in the weekend and play
Right,
with your
anytime.
parents or with your
Okay.
siblings. And then also the like violence, I guess, in Guatemala, we can't go to the streets and just play, or like without parents, or whatever. So I used to just play in my house, with my soccer ball, with the walls, and just, I remember I would like tell a story. I was playing in some big stadium, and it was just by
Of course.
myself,
Yeah.
like,
The daydream for sure.
and I remember my parents would take me to my grandma's house, and I would be playing there with my soccer ball, and then her walls would be all dirty, and her plants would suffer. So that
Yeah.
was
Knocking over the plants
just,
and everything. Yep.
just bringing my soccer ball everywhere, and just playing inside, because there was nowhere to really play outside, or outside your like soccer team of your school.
So two things again. First, and what is your coach's name? So I want to give respect and appreciation to your coach. So what's your coach's name? Who
His
inspired you?
name is Omar Pelaez. He still coaches at a big level. He's in one of the best teams in Guatemala. It's called
Okay.
Comunicaciones, the team, and he's
Yeah.
the
Okay.
goalie coach of the team. So we're still in touch, and I remember I made a promise to him that I haven't been able to live up to the promise, but the promise was that when I become a big soccer professional player, I would buy him a house, and a car. I remember I was really really young, and I told him that I really love this guy so much. He gave my foundations for my love for the sport, and this guy,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
beautiful,
he's
man.
great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I mean, there's still time, right? You're not playing professionally, but you have a company, so maybe you still time to
Yeah,
buy Coach Omar a house and a car. It's not
for
too late.
sure.
So that's amazing, man. That's awesome that you still, decades later, you have those amazing experiences. And so when did things kind of change for you from like just playing like in the yard or just kind of with the team to then getting to a more competitive type of playing environment?
With time, I got better and better and better, and a little better than average. From my school, my teammates would see me as a good soccer player. They wanted me to be on their team, and then
Right.
on the weekends, when I would go with my parents to a family lunch, there would also be other cousins and stuff, and we would play soccer. And then I remember this cousin, my mother's cousin, he was the first guy to tell my mom, look, you should take Quique to this soccer team. I know the coach, and I think he's good, and you should take him there, you know? So my mom was like, okay, I'm gonna take him. And he was for the youth soccer team of one of the best teams here, which is Municipal. And
Okay.
I
Yeah.
remember I went there the first day, and it was good because like all the kids, I was probably like 9, 10, and we're all like with the same passion, you know. Before, maybe some cousins, like, you play for an hour and they get tired and they don't want to
Yeah.
play soccer anymore. But this group of kids, they were crazy about soccer. The first day, he was really good. I was happy too, and the coaches liked me. And then they told my mom, look, he should continue come and practice with us and all that. And then I started playing with them since 10, 11, all through my school years
Okay.
until I went to college. Yeah, it was a nice journey. We would travel all through Guatemala, playing different clubs around the country. We would make it to the final every tournament against the other best team, and sometimes they would win, sometimes we would win. But that's pretty much what happens here, you know. Like, there's two big clubs, and these
Okay.
two big clubs, they win the tournaments back and forth.
And so your mom's very happy because you're not hiding from the coach anymore. You really want to play. You
Yeah.
finally really want to play, and now you're with a group of super passionate players. Um, and is in one of those like elite top teams within within Guatemala. The clear thing I'm hearing so far, Quique, is just like your passion for the sport, and you're just constantly with the ball, right? You're constantly attached to the ball, so it's just like
Mhm.
it's not even work for you. It's just like you just want the ball, and then you get into an environment where other kids are the same. When do you think that your mindset changed from I just love playing, I always want the ball with me, right, and having this kind of like childlike um, perspective, right, or childlike attitude, to now like, oh, I think there might be opportunities for me to go farther, like to go professional, so I can buy Coach Omar a house, or maybe just to play in college or university. Like, when did that change, and then what did you start doing differently to reach that goal?
When I was in this youth program, they gave us the opportunity to um, go with the professional team on Sundays when they had the game. We could go either as ball boys in the stadium,
Okay.
or we could go inside with them in their hands. You know how sometimes kids go with the professionals inside the
Yeah, before the
before
match.
the
Yeah.
before the match. Yeah. So I remember that's when really the fire started with me. Like, I would watch this big stadium full with people, and people just screaming and going crazy, and then watching the professionals warm up and then change into their playing kits. That for me was just wow. Like, these guys are like my superheroes, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I want
Big
to,
time.
yeah, I really want to be that when I grow up. And since then, it's not like I knew I had something special to become a professional soccer player. For me, it was more like there's no other option. I want to be
Mm.
soccer player because this is what I love, and I'm gonna just do whatever I can to become one, you know. And my parents played a very important part because they, here in Guatemala, you can't really, in the States, I learned when I was there that it's really more easy, or like the infrastructure, it's easier for kids to, I don't know, grab their bicycles and go by themselves to a soccer practice, let's say, or after
Okay.
school or whatever, but here you really depend on your parents to take you and to take care of you, really. And so my parents, my mom would always take me like every day to soccer. She would talk to the coaches, what does he need. Then I would play in different soccer teams with my friends, and she would take me there too. And then as I continue to progress and to grow, I remember I had a difficulty with my height. I'm not really that tall, but I'm also
Okay.
allergic to gluten. But I'm really allergic. Like my throat closes and I get rash all over. And when I was
Okay.
growing up, this was really hard because like I'm a little kid and you can't eat pizza and you can't eat donuts and all this. And I had to, every time I got sick, I had to get this shot. And this shot, what did was that it like hardened my growth joints and stuff in my
Okay.
body. So there
Sounds
was a
painful.
time, yeah. So there was a time I wasn't growing at all. So my parents would take me to a doctor and all these exams, and then they had to get the medicine from the States because we didn't have here anything. So
Okay.
my parents really helped me a lot here. And now that I look back at my, like, because at the moment you really don't realize all the things they
Of
do for
course.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and I see a lot of my teammates that didn't make it, and I think it's because of that, because it's really hard for them to, like, their parents probably were working all the time, they couldn't take them. They would ride on a chicken bus from a very young age to go
Right.
to soccer practice, and you get tired of that. But in my case, it was really nice to have my parents helping me and supporting me and taking me to practice, taking me to doctors,
And again, so we got to thank mom and dad, thank
yeah, for
and
sure.
appreciate, for the support and what they're able to do for you. You talked about, some of the opportunities getting to the U.S. and that's what I want to get into next. But you mentioned really quickly, I only know this because of a bit of my research on Guatemala, but you said some of your teammates had to take a chicken bus to practice. For people who have no idea what a chicken bus is, and that name might sound crazy, what is a chicken bus?
Well, yeah, a chicken bus, it's like the public transportation in Guatemala. It's basically like a school bus in the States. It's actually a school bus in the States that in the States they used it in the 80s probably. And then all
Okay.
those school buses come to my country or to Latin American countries, and they are turned into chicken buses. And uh, they're in the streets really crazy all the time. They drive really crazy, really fast, really aggressive, and people use them as the means of transportation here.
Right,
They are
because it's
really cheap.
affordable
Yeah,
and
they are
and people
really,
are
really
literally
cheap.
bringing everything they need, right? Like people are bringing everything they need for work. So I guess the name chicken bus, people sometimes need to bring, if their work involves the chickens, sometimes
Of
they need to
course,
have the chickens
you
on
can
there
see,
or other
yeah,
animals or whatever they
you'll
need.
see a chicken bus in the street, and on the top, you'll see chickens, you'll see different stuff, like bicycles and all these crazy things. Yeah.
Yes, it's got to go. Okay, well, thank you for that because I know everyone's probably going to think like, what's going on there, and I want to be able to share, about the culture of Guatemala as well for our audience. But so now let's talk about, in the U.S. you had some experiences as a teenager. You're still in high school, getting some tournaments and things like that in the U.S. Maybe your mind is opening towards the opportunities there to study and everything. So tell us like how the opportunity to play, at a university level came to you.
Again, my mom played a really important part there. So I used to go to I was in a Guatemalan school where everyone played soccer. I developed my passion. I met the soccer coach. We were so happy playing all the time. Like I said, we had a team after school and all that. And then my mom, she changed jobs. She went from this school. She's a teacher, so she went from this school
Okay.
to an American school. And then I remember she asked us with my older sister. She said, "Do you guys want to move schools?" And I was, "No, I don't want to. I have my friends, my soccer
Right.
here and stuff." So I went to the school, and no one played soccer. No one. Like
Oh,
there was only,
catastrophe, man. It's a nightmare.
yeah. There was a lot of Americans, a lot of Asians, a lot of people from different countries because it's a school used for like diplomatic people and people who came from big companies like Colgate,
Sure.
you know. So there was from all over the world, and no one really played soccer. And then the first like recess we had, I was like, let's play soccer, but there was only basketballs. So we
So you're like,
started.
Mom, no way. I
Yeah, I
can't
was
go
like,
here, man.
no way,
No chance.
no chance. But then we started playing with basketballs, and then there was a couple of Guatemalans, and I don't know the American style of the school really, I really liked it, like how the teachers, American teachers, like approach you. It was a smaller classroom, and so I ended up staying at the school. Long story short, I ended up staying and moving schools, and then thanks to this school, I started learning about college in the States. I started learning that I could
Okay.
go and play soccer and also get a degree, because I think that's the difficult part here in Guatemala, because you either play soccer or you go to school. You can't do
One or the
both.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the soccer career is not guaranteed, like, well, like
Yep.
any
Very
other
risky.
career, but it's really hard to make it. So if
Hmm.
you don't have another thing to like, in case this doesn't work, I can get my degree and work, like in my case that I went to the States. Then it's hard for people to stay in soccer because they're scared they're not gonna make it, or it's a short career, and here you don't get paid as well to live after from soccer. So,
Right.
and then I joined this other soccer academy, um, that was helping kids to go to the States. It was like new. We learned about
Okay.
this academy through the newspaper. So again, my mom called, and we went to meet with this guy, and he said he's holding a soccer camp in Guatemala where college coaches are gonna come and see soccer kids. And so,
Okay. Like a recruiting event then,
yeah, a
then for
recruiting event.
Guatemala-based kids. Okay.
This academy continue with the, like, they continue with the process, and they continue with an academy of like an everyday kind of training. So I moved my time from municipal to this academy because I thought it was gonna be better for me to go to the States and get a degree and play college level, and then
Yeah.
go and try make it a professional level. So I stayed with this academy, and I remember 3 trips we did in those like 2 3 years I was with them. We went to San Diego for an Open Cup, and that was probably one of the best tournaments for me. Like, it opened my mind to what the States, or the competition in the States was going to be, because this academy was
Yeah.
basically the best soccer players of the best schools in Guatemala, you know. So we had a good team, but then we went there and it was hard for us to compete, you know. It wasn't like the kids were really big and really athletic, and I don't know, it was just amazing watching them how big they were, like as like muscles, you know.
Yeah, the
Because
strength and athletic and dynamic. Yeah.
that was crazy for us. Probably in ball control and like technique, we were much better. Probably I can
Right.
tell you, but I can tell you that the physical part of the game is probably more than the technique because it was really hard for us. I mean, we went through the first rounds of the tournament, not easy, like I said, really, really hard. And then we never made it to like semifinals or finals. And
Okay.
yeah, but those tournaments were really nice, eye opening for me. Um, and I really like the infrastructure in the States, you know, watching the soccer fields so perfect, grass, the balls were all new, the goals were amazing, you know, the tournaments were really nice and organized. We would get, I don't know, Gatorade in the soccer games. I was like, oh, nice, you know,
Yeah.
like this is cool, and it's things that American soccer players take for granted, and I understand that.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
grow with that, you know. It's normal for you to have your Gatorade, but here we have bags of water, you know, like
Yeah.
if that, you know. So yeah, it was really eye opening. It just uh, drive me more to really want to go to college and want to get a scholarship and want to play at college level and live that experience really.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you make a great point. Like, we're very fortunate in most places in the United States to have the resources to create really safe, really quality, like abundant facilities and things like to train in. And I think like a lot of youth clubs in the U.S. probably have bigger budgets than many professional clubs in Guatemala or even in other countries, honestly. So we're very, very fortunate for that. You know, and I think it's important for anybody coming from a U.S. background, or to kind of be aware of that, and it's something I try to impress to the kids I'm training too. To kind of really appreciate. But like you said, you can't just really say that to someone, especially a kid, because they're like, this is just how everything is. Like, this is what
Yeah,
I'm used to, right? So it's like an innocence there.
yeah,
And but I think it's important that, like, that's kind of that we really are fortunate to kind of take note of that for sure. Then you ended up in Tennessee, right? So we go from Guatemala, and now we're going to Tennessee.
it was actually Division 2 school
Okay.
in
Okay.
Tennessee called Tusculum College. The coach there at the time, Brett Teach, he's in, well, I don't know where he is now, but he's in VCU actually now. But he gave
Okay.
me the opportunity. He talked to my parents here in Guatemala. He gave me the opportunity to come to the States to a very competitive soccer program. We had really good players. I remember probably at that time he was the best player I played with. His name was Gareth Williams. He was from Wales, and he played in. I mean, he played with Rooney in Everton. He
Hmm.
played in Newcastle, and so he was older too. I was 18. He
Okay.
was like 26. So he played that year, or that 6 months we played for the season. He was really, I learned a lot from him, how he moved with the ball. He was also small, but he was really fast and strong, and I learned a lot of like movement on the field, how you have to run, your positioning, and stuff like that with him. And in the school, in the program, the coach was really good too. I remember my physical abilities build were much better by the end of the year at that school, and we made it to the NCAA tournament that year. And I played a lot with him. I wasn't starting much, like most of the games, but I would
Okay.
go in and get good minutes and got good goals. And it was a good season for me, but I didn't really like the the town where the school was. It was a big
Okay.
change for me. It was basically the school and nothing else. You know, there was a Walmart, there was a Burger King and Applebee's, and that's it. I didn't have a car to like move, and I was
Yeah.
to a big city. You know, I was used to
Yeah.
being in a big city, being with a big family, doing things on the weekend. So that part was really hard for me. I don't know, I just didn't really feel that was a place for me, and I didn't
Hmm.
see myself for 4 years there. And I also wanted to play Division 1. I learned more when I was there about NCAA Division 1,
Okay.
Division 2 and stuff, you know. So
Yeah.
I started thinking I really want to play Division 1. And so I told Brett that I was not going to go next year, and that I was going to look for a Division 1 school. But then there was all these problems about the NCAA that you can't really talk with other schools because you
Yeah. A
can
lot
get,
of restrictions. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of restrictions. And so I had to go to a junior college first because I wasn't able to talk with many coaches and stuff. And I went to Georgia my second year at a junior college in Middle Georgia College. And this coach, Vinny Gill, he came to Guatemala previously and offered me a
Okay.
scholarship too. So I talked to him, look, I really want to move. I want to come to your school for 1 year. And my goal is to look for a Division 1 program after that
Yep.
1 year, and I really want to play in Division 1. And then he was really happy for me to go there, and I got a scholarship. I went to the school, and again, it was in the middle of this small town. Cochrane is
Yeah.
called the town, you know, in Georgia. But my mom has a sister that lived in Atlanta. So I was like, okay, I have family there. I can go
Okay. Yeah. Somewhat close. Yep.
Thanksgiving or for holidays, you know.
Yeah.
So that was easier, and they actually took me to school, and they were really nice uh, for like buying me a small fridge for my dorm, and they gave me a
Of course,
TV,
you
you
have
know.
to have the mini fridge, man, for leftovers.
Yeah,
Anything, your microwave meals, like all that stuff. You got to have the mini fridge in the dorm. It's key.
yeah, for sure. And so I played for 1 season there. We made it. I don't know if they made it farther since that year now, but we made it also to the NJCAA National Junior Tournament, you know, and we made
Right.
it. We created a really nice group of teammates, a mix from Latins and Americans, and I think there were two Scottish kids, but we
Okay.
we probably were not the best like team as like playing wise, you know, but we had amazing chemistry. We
Hmm.
we just really wanted to go through the rounds and make it as far as possible, and we knew sometimes it's not gonna be pretty, you know.
So what do you think? Like you're playing with players from all over the world. On like a social side, did you find it hard to maybe get to know some of the guys, or did you find that like, hey, you all shared soccer, you all shared the game, so it was kind of a way for you all to kind of start your friendships?
Yeah, I think it's really weird because I'm usually really shy, very introvert, I keep to myself. It's really hard for me to open up. But I feel like soccer is just like one language, and I feel like when you share this with anyone, you automatically have some kind of bond that you just it's easy for people to get to know, and sharing this passion.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you with us, like it was really easy
Exactly.
for us to just
Exactly.
talk about soccer and have a good time chatting, because I don't know, it's just this passion that you can unites everyone. It doesn't take into consideration if you're poor, if you're rich, if you are whatever. Just this soccer just unites everyone. I really like that too.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. And that's the type of thing I like to talk about with this podcast is like those relationships, those experiences, you know.
So yeah, I went to UNF, University of North Florida, for my last years, and this Division 1 program, and just amazing, really. I've never gotten that kind of treatment anywhere else. Like from getting your training kits in your locker
Yep.
rooms every day clean, getting your cleats and tennis shoes there ready for whenever you need them, getting, I don't know, like chocolate milk or protein after every training session, um, flying to other games. I was like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me? I'm going on airplane? Like, wow, okay. Um,
Uh,
and then just also the professional part that they start teaching you about. For example, uh, films. We had to watch a lot of films of the other teams. What are they doing? Or about us, you did bad this pass, you should have done this better. And then you had all the conditioning coaches
oh yeah.
specifically for you. So I remember I'm really my Achilles tendon is probably all the physical part, and I'm really good technique player. But my Achilles tendon is being a fast player, being a strong player. I
Mm.
really have a hard time with that. But in this school, they gave me all the resources I needed, and I had no excuses. I had a nutritioning coach, because in
Amazing.
Guatemala they never teach me like what to eat, what not to eat,
Yep.
why eat this,
Yep.
why not eat that. You just eat whatever and you just play, right? But here, no, you have to eat this, you have to eat that, and then everything changed for me. And after a soccer practice, I would have conditioning, you know, and just by myself with the coach and building, and I became this much better soccer player all around. I became a much better student athlete in this school. They gave you all the resources you need for school too. We had a
Of course.
advisor,
Yep.
we had teachers, we had everything you needed, and the best hotels, the best food, everything. I was just amazed. And like I said, after that I played in a NPSL team in Jacksonville,
Right.
and we did really good. I played a lot. I started all the games. I was probably like 5 times the player of the match, and we played the Open Cup too. That year we played against the Tampa Bay Rowdies and against Orlando City. We played against some good teams and good players. It was really amazing for me to live that experience, going to big stadiums. It was really nice, and we were really competitive too. But I just had 1 year after school to stay in the States legally. And
Right.
after that, and the team was small at that time. Right now they are in USL, but at that time they were building, so they really didn't have the funds or the, I don't know what to call it, but to pay for my visa and all the paperwork that comes with.
Right.
But they it was a really good year for me too. So after that year, I came back to Guatemala to play for a team, a professional team here. It's called Antigua. In recent years, they've been doing really good, and at first I was really happy to go back and play soccer. That was one of my dreams, you know. At the time,
Hmm.
I thought I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna play at a professional level. I'm going to make it to a better team, and then maybe I could go out to of Guatemala to play at a different country. That's what my mind set was at that time. Really, the experience playing at a professional level in Guatemala just what wasn't what I was expecting at all. From infrastructure, from um, I don't know, you just lacked all the resources I had in college level. I didn't have anything of that in a professional level in Guatemala. I
So
was
like
just
no
done.
one cleaning the boots, not like any healthy food set up for you. You don't have the staff like the nutritionist, the strength and conditioning, all those things. And again,
No
talking about
video
the
sessions.
yep, yep,
The training kits were like really bad, you know. But that didn't really. But I mean, you can comparing everything. The soccer
yeah.
fields were not good. The traveling was really bad. The hotels you stayed in were not at all good. And then you have the same pressure or even more, you know, to get good results. Um,
Yep.
but you're lacking all these things you really need to be able to go to the pitch and being in the best condition you can to play for, I don't know, 95 100 minutes at a high level. But you also have to you're eating bad food, you're drinking
Hmm.
not what you need, you don't have the staff needed to stay longer at the practices to train, I don't know, free kicks, let's say.
So you go from like Division 1, where you're talking big time millions of dollars budget, air travel, tons of backroom staff and resources, like everything there for you to be successful. And then going back home, you're excited to be back home because of like with family, with friends, everything. You're playing professionally, which is a dream. But it sounds like in comparison, the only things that are really professional was like the level of the players and like the pressure, right? And even more pressure because now we're talking about people living off of results and performances and things like that at the professional level in Guatemala. Has the game improved, or have the resources improved like since you were playing, or has it stayed about the same?
Like I said in before in the podcast, there's two teams in Guatemala that probably are good, you know, like they give you all good resources, they have good money to invest in the players and in programs and in youth, and outside those two clubs we don't have support, we don't have money, we don't have infrastructure. Basically, soccer players here, they are soccer players because of need, that they can't do anything else as a job, you know, or because their passion is too big that they want to continue and making it. But everyone knows that here to make it you have to suffer for the first years or for most of your career, your soccer career here. It's really sad because I think that there are the resources, they're just not used correctly um, for the players. But my year as a professional here um, really just like blocked my passion for soccer. There was a time I really didn't want to play anymore. um I remember in college we had all these like physicians. You can go get treatment before, after, during
Right.
training. They would do all these things for you. You had like a massage therapy, and you had these things where you put ice baths and jacuzzis. And
Mm-hmm.
then I got injured when my probably like what 3 months after coming back here, I was playing with them, and I got an injury in a training practice. In practice, I got my ankle twisted, and I had to get a surgery. And the team was just difficult with that. Like, they were, no, you don't need to get an injury, the doctor here says you're fine. And I was like,
Mm.
okay. And then I would get injured again, and I would get injured again. So I decided to pay myself another doctor and go and see, and he tell me if there's something wrong, because I was just getting injured all the time.
Like, yeah, it sounds like the club didn't really have like your full well being and long term like health in mind, and just like, hey, just get back out there and kind of just get it done.
Or so at the end, I think they just didn't want to pay for the surgery,
Yeah.
and that really just like, I don't want to play anymore for a team that really doesn't care about the players, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of other things that I lived and see that I didn't want to be part of. And then I had my degree, and
Right.
also I had a little bit of pressure from my parents, like, you should start working, because you can build your career for a long time. And
Exactly.
soccer, you
Yeah.
got injured, what is going to happen next year? So I decided to end my soccer career after 1 year.
So all the way, from being a kid just in love with the ball, and then you finally get that professional dream, and it's not exactly what it seemed, right? And that's hard because we always have this vision or this idea of like what we want and or what will make us happy and what we need to be happy and type of things that we work towards, and you sacrifice in years and years. And life is difficult where sometimes when you get that, it's not really what you expect, or maybe not the best thing for you. So but we have the journey, right? We have all the time and everything that everything you did as a player, the dedication, the passion, the time you put in to improve yourself, you can now carry on into other areas of your life. And so I think
Yeah.
that's a big thing we focus on, with players that I'm coaching too, whether you only play soccer till you're like in high school and it's not at a super high level, but you love it, or you're at the highest professional levels, like how can you take what you're learning and use it on the field and put it into life? I think that's the biggest goal. So
Yeah.
this is an awesome conversation, Quique, and I'm sure there's like a lot of stories that you could share that we'd love to hear. Before we go, the last thing that we do with every guest on the Because Football podcast, can you
Okay.
please finish this sentence? Because football, dot, dot, dot.
Because football unites the world. I think that it's an amazing tool to use for developing kids, for um, giving them kids that have maybe not the same opportunities as others. Like, it gives them a sense of a dream that they can accomplish, and that they can uh, through that give their families another opportunity, and
Yes.
change the world for their generations. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, man. Big impact. Just a small ball, but big impact. So awesome.
Exactly.
Quique, muchas gracias. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you, Andrew. It was really
until the next time.
nice. Yeah, it was really nice to talk to you and just sharing these moments. I could look back at since I was a kid with a soccer ball and just remember my path in college and
Yeah,
my
man.
professional experiences, and just talking about it is it's amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for
No, we
the
enjoyed it, man.
opportunity.
This was great. Our pleasure, man. Thank you. So,
Thank
all right,
you.
everybody. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you, guys. Bye.